You're not going to believe this, but both Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez mentioned the same highway in their songs. And not just once, it's starting to feel like more than a coincidence. Quick to notice that some of the lyrics seem to point right back to Selena. The words, the images, even the subtle shoutouts like a nod to her favorite perfumer. Hard to miss if you followed their history. But what really made people stop and talk was the fact that they both mentioned the same road, the same highway. Not to mention the repeated phrases, similar imagery, and the timing of their album releases, one dropping around the other's birthday month. Could this all be random? That's what we're looking into today. And once you hear it all, you might not see it as random anymore. Let's start with Highway 405. It's a well-known road in Los Angeles. But in this case, it might be more than just a backdrop. Justin named an entire song after it on his latest album, Swag. In the track titled 405, he sings about driving down the freeway with someone in the passenger seat. He paints a picture of a glowing sunset, intense eye contact, and how distracted he is by the person beside him, so much so that it might make him crash. The lyrics are emotional, vivid, and seem to capture a memory frozen in time. Now, rewind a few years. Selena had already mentioned the 405 in her own song called Camouflage. But her version is much more emotional and lonely. She sings about driving, alone on the same road, reflecting on fragile moments and feelings she never got to express. Her lyrics talk about pain, about not being able to share what she felt because it might not have mattered. That's a huge contrast to Justin's more intense and romantic version, and yet they're both centered around the exact same road. That's not the kind of detail artists just throw in without a reason. It's specific, and it feels shared. But wait, we're just getting started. Let's talk about Daisies. This song, also from Justin's Swag album, has gotten a lot of attention, and for good reason. It's full of lyrics and symbols that fans believe are tied directly to Selena. If someone loves you or not, that's a pretty iconic image. Selena used it in her song Round and Round, when she sang about plucking petals and watching them fall while waiting for love. His version sounds like a response to hers. He sings, "Do you love me or not?" and talks about how confused he is. The meaning is the same. The metaphor is almost identical. The only thing that's changed is the voice and the time, and it's not just the lyrics. Two daisies for years. Her favorite perfume is called Daisy. She's been seen wearing daisy flowers in her hair during her Revelation era. Even her dog is named Daisy. These aren't coincidences. These are details that only someone close to her would pick up on and reference in such a layered way. Then, there's the lyric from Daisies where Justin says, "You said forever, baby? Did you mean it or not?" That line sounds eerily close to what Selena once sang in Love. We'll remember, where she talks about love being eternal, even if people try to forget. In both songs, they're asking the same question. Did we really mean it when we said forever? There's more. Justin also sings in Daisies about being left on read. He says, "You leave me on red, babe, but I still get the message." Instead of a line, it's 3 dots, but I can connect them. That feeling, being ignored but still understanding what it means, hits hard. And Selena's got a line in her song Adios that sounds like the flip side of that situation. She sings, "If I leave you unseen, why do you call me? Don't play dumb. If I keep my distance, it's because I don't want drama anymore." Now, put those lyrics side by side. One's frustrated about being ignored. It's almost like they're continuing a private conversation through music. When you add all this up, Highway 405, the shared imagery of flower petals. They're nearly identical lines about love lasting forever, and even their lyrics about being left on read. It starts to look like Daisies wasn't just a random love song. It may be full of hidden messages, maybe even unresolved emotions. It feels like someone is still trying to make sense of everything that happened between them. Before we move to the next part, there's one more detail that's too interesting to skip. Justin's latest album is titled Swag. At first glance, it might seem like just a throwback to his early pop days or a casual, trendy title. But if you rewind to 2013, you'll remember that Swag had a deeper connection. Back then, it wasn't just a phrase he threw around, it became part of his public identity. He even used it in tweets, interviews, and on stage. It was part of how he expressed confidence, especially during his peak years when he was often seen as untouchable. Naming an entire album Swag now, over a decade later, seems intentional. Almost like he's reaching back to a time before everything got complicated, before breakups, scandals, and public meltdowns. Reclaiming something, or maybe it's a signal that he's still holding onto something from that chapter of his life. One thing's clear. These aren't just simple songs thrown together for streaming numbers. There's a thread running through them, through the lyrics, the titles, and even the timing of the releases that hints at something more personal. Whether it's closure, longing, or simply unfinished business, it sounds like both artists still have something to say. Back in 2013, Selena Gomez dropped her debut solo album Stars Dance. and among the tracks was one called Nobody Does It Like You in it. She sings about someone who left a powerful mark on her. She says, your eyes, your lips, your touch, this toxic, twisted rush, your sexy kind of swag, the best I've ever had. Randomly, at the time, everyone knew who she was talking about. Justin Bieber? The chemistry between them had been public, intense, and often hard to ignore. So when she described someone unforgettable and addictive using the word swag, fans didn't need to guess twice. Things get even more interesting. More than a decade later, Justin decides to name his entire album Swag. That's not just a throwback to a trending word. It feels personal. Some might say it's a coincidence or maybe just clever branding. But when you remember how Selena once used that exact word to describe Justin in a love song, the connection feels too specific to ignore. If this was just a marketing choice, then it's a brilliant one. But more likely, it's a musical callback, a subtle way of saying, I haven't forgotten either. Now let's talk about timing. First in March, right around Justin's birthday. Fast forward just a few months and Justin releases Swag in July, which is Selena's birthday month. These aren't just any projects. They're two of the most emotional confessional works either of them has put out in years. And yet both were released during the months that represent the other person. Is that just good scheduling? A quiet way of acknowledging each other through music? Like a silent birthday message wrapped in lyrics and melodies. It almost feels like a poetic gesture so perfectly timed. It becomes hard to believe it's random, and we haven't even touched the visual side of things yet. Let's talk about butterflies. On Justin's track, Butterflies featured on Swag, he sings, these butterflies won't go away. He's not talking about the insects. Now rewind to Selena's Rare music video from 2020. That video was filled with floating butterflies, symbols of lingering emotion, change, and something unspoken. Fans picked up on it right away. The butterflies weren't just pretty visuals. They represented something that still hovered in the air, something that hadn't been fully let go. And then, shortly after Rare came out, Justin began his Justice tour. Guess what showed up on the big screen at the opening of the show? Blue butterflies. Huge, glowing, beautiful ones. That kind of detail isn't added by accident. If anything, it felt like a quiet echo of Selena's video. When two people with a deep shared past start using the same symbol for the same feelings just months apart, Tip starts to look like something more. Maybe it was inspiration, maybe it was subconscious, or maybe it was just another silent message exchanged through their art. Here's something only hardcore fans caught. Selena released a track called Talk, and when it came out, a lot of people were convinced that the male-sounding vocals were actually Justin. Her voice had been altered in such a way that it sounded strikingly like him, and the lyrics added fuel to the fire. Arms around me, I need to feel your touch. I'm feeling kind of lonely. Like Justin, it felt like something he might actually say. It left fans split. Some were convinced it was a secret collaboration or a message in disguise. Others thought maybe the vocal effect was just a coincidence. But then, Justin did something similar. On his track Yukon, he shifted his voice dramatically. It was higher, more delicate, almost androgynous. He sang in a style far from his usual tones, so much so that some listeners didn't recognize him at first. Just like with Selena's Talk, fans were left wondering why he changed his voice so dramatically. Was it just experimentation, or was it a way of mirroring what Selena had done? It's hard to say for sure, but it adds yet another layer to the already long list of strange parallels between them when you add all these elements together: the 405 freeway references, the flower petals and daisies and round, the shared butterfly imagery, the matching birthday month album releases, the echo of vocal styles, and even the fact that Selena's dog is named Daisy. It starts to feel like all these songs and symbols are connected. They're telling a story, and maybe it's not about wanting to get back together. Maybe it's about something else. Maybe it's about how strong memories can live on in music, how something unfinished can become part of the art, how even when two people move on, they leave behind little messages in their work that say, you mattered. Even if the words are never said out loud, they show up in the lyrics, in the visuals, and in the timing. Maybe it's not about love anymore. Maybe it's about remembering what love used to feel like and how deeply it changed them. Music becomes the only safe place to express what's still unspoken. So what do you think? Out of all these connections, which one caught you off guard? Was it the butterfly imagery? The shared use of swag? The birthday month releases? Or maybe it was the vocal tricks that had people second-guessing who was really singing? Do you think Justin intentionally layered these meanings into Swag? Or are fans simply connecting dots that aren't meant to be connected? Let me know in the comments. I really want to know how you see it. And if you enjoy this kind of slow burn mystery unraveling through music, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell, because the next video, there's even more. We've got clues and connections that didn't make it into this one. and they might change how you see this whole story. Missed the earlier video where we broke down the first batch of coincidences? Just click the link right here and catch up. Trust me, it's worth watching.